So I grew up in church my entire life. I was born to two faithful parents who always went to church. I was always in church, always went to VBSs and church camps and the whole 9 yards. So with that, I grew up, thinking that I was a Christian. I thought because I knew how to live as a Christian, I thought that I was a Christian. And I thought that because I knew what Jesus did for me and you, that is, how I gained my Christianity. That was how I became a Christian. But what I didn't know was that I was an unsaved Christian. I lived my entire life knowing these morals and values that Christians have, but I never had that relationship with Jesus. I knew about God, but I didn't know God. And with that, it led me to live a life full of sin and hopelessness. I was always constantly running after something, and I did not know what it was. And so one night I was on the way to a party, and my mom texted me a verse in Ecclesiastes that says, it is better to go to a house of mourning than it is to a house of celebration. And I didn't know what that verse meant at the time, but I know that verse had so much impact on me that I could not enjoy myself at this party. I felt so out of place. I didn't feel like I belonged. And it wasn't until a couple days later that I realized that my mom had sent me that because of, my parents were mourning their lost daughter. I was called a Christian, but I was not a Christian. And so that night that I realized that was like the turning point for me. I decided that I am no longer living the way that I was living. I was, going to change, and I was going to have a relationship with Christ from then on. And so I went to a Grow Group, and a friend from Grow Group asked me if I knew the difference between knowing about God and actually knowing God. And my first thought was, I know God. I know that, the gospel. I know that He died for me to save me, and I've grown up in church, so I'm saved. There's no way I'm not. And they explained to me the difference, and that was whenever I had decided to completely follow Christ and give myself to Him. And ever since, that moment, my relationship with my parents has been reconciled. I have conviction over my sin now. I know that I have a purpose, and that purpose is to tell others about Jesus and to, share the difference between knowing about God and fully knowing God with people. And my name is Katie Redding, and this is my redemption story.